firstly, I would like to introduce him that he is a professor in bioinformatics from School of Computational and Integrative Sciences, Jawaharlal Nehru University. He has a lot of publication with the citation index is up to more than 3,000, with the H index is 28. And Professor Sandar will give a talk, very interesting talk on biomedical discovery via data science and deep learning. So without any further ado, Professor Sandar, I would like to invite you for your talk. 35 minutes, I think, according to the schedule. And time is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hassan, and thank you for inviting me here, the organizers. And these are 35 minutes allocated to me, but if you don't enjoy and if you want me to interrupt before that, you're most welcome to ask me to stop. That is getting too much. Okay, so a very good morning to all of you. I'm speaking from New Delhi, Jawaharlal Nehru University, and it is so nice to connect to Indonesia at this moment. I hope I can receive some of the sun from Indonesia. It is very cold here. And I hope in the virtual world, we can exchange some of the weather differences, and the day here becomes warmer with your blessings. So with this note, with this quick background word, I start. I will share my screen. Okay. I guess you can see my screen now.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I come from this lab. My lab is called Sci-Y Lab. Those of you who can read a little bit of Japanese can see on this, in the star, there is a word called Sci-Y. In Japanese, it means happiness. And this is an integration of the scientific Sci, and Y is for query. So my lab is named after stuffing together lots of things. It looks like the scientific query germinates and produces happiness, as in this logo that you see here. Since the time is not so much, I will go to the content. Can you see my slide moving? So I start with a small poem that those of you who may be interested in poetry and also in science, they may enjoy it. Where does the data science stand in comparison to the wet lab science? Because this is a biodiversity conference, and many of you may have never done bioinformatics or may have never even respected bioinformatics. So I put here a few subjects in contrast in the form of a poem. Physics is fundamentalist, because in physics we often talk about fundamental laws of nature. So physics is fundamentalist and fussy. Mathematics is dumb and yet not easy, because mathematics has very well-defined equations, and things cannot be so fuzzy in this unless it is fuzzy mathematics as that has come later. So mathematics is dumb and not yet easy. Astrology is hasty and crazy, which draws conclusions too fast. Human brain uses none. For deep inside its terrain, it knows to represent, test, and train without bothering to explain. And that is what the situation is about intelligence. Intelligence may not specifically identify how and why it is answering a question the way it is answering, but it may still give you very good answers. So the human brain is not based on physics, not based on mathematics. The answers given by human brain, which are intelligent, are not based on any of these basic sciences, but it does represent, it does test hypothesis, and it trains models without bothering to explain how it answered the way it answered. Data science rules this world, for even if a solution is transient, predictions are noisy and incoherent, they work the best for most because they are intelligent. So this is a little primer for, I'm just trying to look directly into this screen. Okay, so I start with, again, since it is a biodiversity conference, I would like to pick up something from more familiar domain from some of you, many of you, and a comparison between the philosophies or approaches to science from Charles Darwin and Gregory Mendel. Both of them were almost contemporary scientists. They both left this world almost within the gap of less than 2 years. And Darwin studied fossil data, and Gregory Mendel did experiments. So there are two great scientists, one involved in experimental and mathematical work, mathematics based on that experiment gave rise to genetics, and the other looking at the fossil data, giving rise to a great evolutionary theory that forms the foundation of a lot of biology today. So now one may wonder, was Darwin a data scientist? Why? Why do I raise this question? Because he collected data. It was a fossil data. He modeled this data to theorize evolution. He explained origin of a species based on data. It was not based on first principles of science. It was based on the observation and phenomenology of the data that he observed. Although he never quantified it, but he definitely created a theory based on the qualitative analysis of data, with some quantification coming in the form of dating. So he never went to a lab to create this thesis, or he never performed an experiment for his landmark theory of evolution. So now we wonder if the data science has been as old as in 19th century, when Darwin was also doing data science. In fact, all science has been based on some data or the other. Can we call all those science to be data science, or there's something new today which makes data so much more important than before? So that is where the machine learning comes into picture. The machine learning converts the data into models with arbitrary complexity.
Professor Ahmad, excuse me, I interrupted you. Could you close your mic so the voice is louder? So
voice is low?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you hear all what I said?
Yeah.
I have to repeat.
Okay, I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
No, thank you for interrupting.
Okay.
It's a good interruption. Yeah. So am I better audible now? It should not be like this.
Okay. Yes.
Is it any more helpful? Can you hear me better?
I think it's okay. Yeah, fine. Now it's clear.
Okay. So machine learning can convert any data into models with arbitrary complexity. That is, machine learning was not available to Darwin, and machine learning was not available to people who were studying data earlier. So all the science that came from data, Newton's laws of motion, that came from the data on the planetary motion. And the quantum theory came from Bohr's observation of the hydrogen atom spectra, their data again. So these data was modeled carefully using specific mathematical relationships, and then the laws were created. Machine learning was not there at the time, and machine learning was not used to create the fundamental theories from that. So what is new today in the big data analytics, or the data science that we call it sometimes, is that we completely bypass the basic laws. We are not really interested in how my feature set, which are my inputs to the model, and my target properties, say for instance, the transcriptome, the metabolome are my features, and I want to know what are the phenotypes these transcriptomes will produce. So this relationship is not modeled with the help of mathematical equations, but with the help of some black boxes. We do not know how this model is being created, a neural network which has certain hidden nodes, certain input nodes, and certain layers. But what these layers are doing and what is a mathematical relationship it is generating is not generally of our interest, although some efforts are made in that direction, but that's not the primary purpose of training a machine learning model. So this is the fundamental difference between the previous application of data to produce or to make new discovery compared to the discoveries that are being made today from the data science. So I can simply, if I put this data and this modeling or finding rules from data in perspective, we can say that there are three paradigms. In the older paradigm one, the basic statistics and curve fitting was the primary principle. Mathematical modeling were the primary principles of converting data into scientific theories. Then paradigm two came when machine learning and clustering came, and now we are in the paradigm three, where the deep learning and natural language processing and the technologies AI and cloud are there. So this is our way of looking at three paradigms. There are other researchers and scientists, thinkers who have talked about fourth paradigm, etc. But here I put this in the context of how the mathematical modeling has developed over time.